Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Why do Karens need to have a seat that people are sitting on? They're like these selfish younger siblings of the world. If you have it, they want it, and as soon as you lose interest, so do they. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Karen complains that disabled people are hogging the disabled seating on a bus. She isn't disabled. This happened when I was 14 and we'd recently moved to another country. The town was small and there wasn't a whole lot of public transport. Only a few taxis and one bus which had wheelchair seating. The wheelchair seating area was at the front of the bus with 3 seats on one side that would fold down from the wall to sit on, or a wheelchair or pram could sit in front of one of them. One day I was with my mom and we had to travel to the town next over, but Mom's car was at the mechanics. So we took the bus that departed at the same time every day and returned a few hours later. Only one trip to and from the towns in the area each day. The bus arrived not long after we started waiting at the bus stop. When we got on, there were already people seated in the disabled seating, a mother with her baby in a pram beside her, and a middle-aged man in a wheelchair that lived in our town. There were seats available at the back of the bus, which I assumed we would both sit at. Karen, addressing the woman with her baby in the pram, "Excuse me, do you mind moving your pram so I can sit there?" "Sorry, but no, I can't move the pram. There's nowhere else for it to sit without being in the way." Karen, "But it's in my way. Can't you just sit in another seat?" "No, ma'am, I'm not moving. Go sit somewhere else." It seemed like this woman had encountered Karens before and didn't take their BS. Karen, "I have a disability, though, and can't walk all the way to the back of the bus." Karen was totally fine, no mobility issues or anything. She was just Karen, believe me. I know about disabilities. My mom, "No, you don't, ma'am. Stop it and sit up in the back. Stop making a scene." Karen, her face going red from me calling her out on her BS. "Fine, whatever," and she reluctantly went to sit in another seat. Me, to the woman with the baby, "I'm so sorry, ma'am." Sounds like that Karen actually does have a disability in the form of a severe impairment of her capacity to realize that the world does not revolve around her. Not the kind of disability that entitles her to have someone move so she can sit in a seat reserved for disabled people. Sorry, Karen. Nice try. Because they feel that they can impose their will on others, they win. Now, as to what they're winning, you'll have to ask them. And our second story. Enjoy your ride home. Half the fun is getting there. Back during the boom, when oil was $1.15, there was a severe labor shortage here in West Australia. Unskilled laborers were getting $110,000 a year doing FIFO, and rent for a piece of crap donga was $1,500 a week in Karratha. Karratha's in northern Western Australia for our American friends. Correspondingly, we had to import a bunch of people on skilled work visa to meet the shortfall, many of whom came in from Europe, mostly Dutch, Norwegians, and Scots, as experienced people in drilling and completions, D&C, were scarce as F. Seriously, you'd have an easier time finding a Mormon brothel. We'd bring these overcharging guys on as contractors, they'd mobilize out to Perth, do whatever induction, and then go out to whatever rig or facility they were needed on. To keep them happy, we'd let them sort their own flights. For most of them, they just went for the most direct flights possible so they didn't have to F with layovers. For example, coming from the UK, most opted for a direct flight to Singapore and another flight to Perth. However, there was a small number of guys that said, company's paying for my flights. I know, I'll go to Amsterdam on my way and get stoned as F on their nickel. Awesome. They call the travel agent, used our booking code, get the tickets, and off they go. This is when I get a phone call from a very PO'd OIM, offshore installation manager, basically the captain of the rig. "What the F? You sent us a subsea engineer and the dumb C just failed 2 P tests." "You sure?" says I, puzzled. "Guy's got a current offshore medical." "Got the results right here. Failed the first one, did the second one, failed and confirmed. Get this guy off my rig. Effing now. NRB. NRB is not required back. This means someone's been fired from a rig, not just fired, never again will work on that rig, and most likely will never work for that company again. It's sort of a combination of scarlet letter and leprosy in the O&G industry. We organized to get the guy off the rig on the next chopper and stick him in a hotel room in Karatha for lack of anything else to do with him. I pull his mobilization papers. Of effing course. Manchester, London, Amsterdam. Craphead figured while we're paying the bill that he can F around and smoke crap. I call the OIM and tell him what happened. He doesn't give a crap because it's not his problem. Fair call. I'd have said the same thing. So what to do with Snoop Dogg, the subsea engineer? We can't put him on another rig. Company's already paid for his stupid butt to be out here, and the only thing his contract says is that we have to send him home if his contract ends for whatever reason. Oh well, thinks I. It sucks, but it's done. Then I get a really, really evil idea. It'll take some doing, but it's possible. The key instrument of this plan is a woman, but you get my point. Teresa, the personnel logistics coordinator, is fantastic. She's been in drilling all her life, and she takes crap from nobody. She also does favors for nobody. Many of the people in the office don't like her because she has no problem saying F off to stupid crap that's going to waste her time. I once saw her subdue a 300-pound good old boy drilling super from Incest, Arkansas by saying, "Grow up and pee off, you dog." I like her immensely. 3 pints later, "So what you effing want me to do about it?" she asks. "Well," says I noticed his contract says we have to send him back." "Yeah, no crap. They all say that, effing contractors." "Ah, but," I reply, "they don't say how we have to send them back." It takes her a minute to catch my drift, but when the light bulb goes on, it goes on. She gets a really, really evil look, and we head back to the office around 8 p.m. to hatch this thing. She logs onto our travel system from 1985 and starts plonking in numbers. This craphead has to go from Perth, Australia to Manchester, UK. Ordinarily, that's Perth, Singapore, London, Manchester, all direct flights, minimal layovers. We then make a really evil itinerary. Perth, Singapore, Tokyo, Narita, Beijing, New Delhi, Dubai, Zurich, Paris, London, Manchester. We booked this route not only for the flights, but also to make sure he had really crappy layovers. Those 6 to 8 hour ones where it's not enough time to go out or get some sleep, but too long to hang around the effing airport. Took us an hour and a half to book it. "You realize," she says, "this is going to cost a fortune." "Yeah, but he's already done that by forcing us to sub someone else on emergency day rates." "True. We're in agreement." She also adds, "F the C for taking the P." The following day, I tell our Keith Richards wannabe that he's all booked, just needs to fly back to Perth, and he's set. Guy gets on the plane, and Teresa and I drink more beer to celebrate. Soon, I get a very PO'd phone call. "Who the F booked my effing flights?" he asks. "Dunno, mate," says I. "Has it booked you through to Manchester?" "Yeah, but I gotta go through all these crap holes. Who effed this up?" "Hang on a second." I put him on hold and get Teresa on conference. "All right, I've got our logistics girl standing by. Where are you now?" "Effing China. I ended up in Tokyo and they told me this is my flight. Now I'm supposed to go to India." I hear Teresa snort and try to cover it up as a sneeze. "Crap, that's no good, mate," I say. "How long have you been in transit for?" "Effing day and a half." "Well, crap, I can try to rebook you, but if you're already in transit, there's not much we can do. Might be best just to stick with it. You're booked through, so you'll get home in the end." There's a pause while he mulls it over. "I don't want to go to India." "Too bad," says I. "We didn't want you to go to Amsterdam." "Better luck next time." Click. Over the next few days, we get a bunch of angry emails, some calling me a craphead, some saying we waste resources, another brilliant one saying that if he wanted to see Indians, he'd have stayed in Manchester. Too bad. And our next story. The plight of a man on the search for ripe bananas. I've been in this store every damn day this week, and every day I've been in here, the bananas have been green as hell, an older gentleman said to me today while shaking his head. "How hard is it to get some frickin' ripe bananas? It can't be that hard. I haven't been able to have bananas all week because they're too green. What am I supposed to do?" Trying not to laugh and find a serious but polite answer in my head, "Well, sir, these bananas come all the way from Ecuador, and there isn't really much I can do to ensure you get ripe bananas every day. I'm at the bottom of the totem pole. Have you tried buying a bunch and setting them on your countertop? I'm sure they'll ripen overnight," I sarcastically replied. He angrily retorted, What do you mean they'll ripen? What? That's way too much work. I want ripe bananas now. You know what? I'm going to shop at Competitors from now on. He then waves his hand at me as if he's done with the conversation. Like he was expecting me to start begging for him to continue shopping with us? No, please. No, don't. No. Just give me a chance, sir. I'll go home and book a flight to Ecuador immediately and monitor the bananas start to finish. I'll ride with them in the shipment containers and ensure they stay at a temperature that will guarantee your bananas be the perfect ripeness when you purchase them. I'll do anything. Please don't go. But all I thought was, thank the retail gods, prayers have been answered. Yes, please never come back again. See you later, pal. Unfortunately, I know he'll be back eventually. Fingers crossed we have green bananas when he does. I think it's time to find a new job. LOL. If only he'd bought some at the beginning of the week and set them down somewhere. It's a lot of hard work, but it's probably not as hard as driving down to the store every day. And our last story. I didn't allow my neighbors to camp on my land. I own 16 acres of woodland behind my house. It's very clearly my property as there are signs up stating it's private property. I'm generally good with people walking through it, taking their dog a walk or hiking, or even local kids playing there, as it's a safe place and beautiful as long as they don't cause any damage or mess with the trees. I see no reason to get upset over this. An issue came up, however, tonight when I was on a walk and saw a fire through the trees. I admit I panicked, thinking a dog walker had been out and tossed a cigarette or some local teenagers were setting fires for fun. I rushed out to check on it and try to put out the fire and found one of my neighbors camping with their girlfriend and friends. It was a group of 5 people in their mid-20s and they had a roaring campfire going. They got startled by me rushing up to them like that and asked me what the F I was doing. I asked them the same question back and told them they couldn't camp here and they'd not asked permission to do so. This led to some laughter and protest that they weren't doing any harm and to lighten up. I told them to put the effing fire out and get off my land. I didn't want to risk a campfire there as it could easily get out of hand, especially when the group manning it were more than a little drunk. They ended up refusing, stating they weren't going anywhere and were not doing anything wrong, so I went home and called the police to get them off my property. They were made to leave and break up their camp. They probably thought it was okay as I'm good with letting people use my land in general. I maybe could have handled it better, but I'd gotten a fright seeing the fire and then how they responded. It just really got to me. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.